find me at deserting. No time to have you lurking. You make a back, now you don't like it. You know I dealt with you the nicest. Nobody touched me in the righteous. Nobody text me in a crisis. I believe that all of your dreams are duration. You took my heart, all my keys, and my patience. You took my heart, I must leave a decoration. You mistaken my love, I brought for you for foundation. All that I wanted from you was to give me something that I never had, something that you never seen, something that you never been. But I wake up and hell nothing's wrong. Just get ready for work, 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 work. You see me, I be work, 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 work. You see me do me dirt, 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 dirt. So me about that work, 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 work. Na 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 na. When you walk out, na 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 na. Before the table turn, 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 turn. Beg you something, please.
Hey, hey. I wanna sell what you're buying. I wanna feel on your ass in the wire. I want that jet lag from fucking and flying. Shoot a shot in your mouth while I'm riding. Oh, I mean,
I just hope that it gets to you. I hope that you see this through. I hope that you see this true.
no, I can't leave. And now I'm making hella Italy. Never want the niggas that's in my league. I wanna fuck the ones I envy. I envy. Cocaine and drinking with your friends. You live in the dark, boy, I cannot pretend.
What can I say? Please recognize I'm trying, baby. I feel why. Is that me? I feel why. You see me do my da. So me by that
Body on the way, like, call me by your name. Tell me you love me in private. Call me by your name. How do I care if you're lying? You want me? Call me, I'll drop everything. Don't need your name, 'cause all I'm saying, fuck it, let's ride.
We just need a face to face. You could pick a time and a place. You will spend some time away. Now you need to forward and baby, I'll work.
Is that me? I feel why. You see me do my da. So me by that when you walk out, la. And I can't from my dirt. Work.
Zany boss, suicide door, brand new bag. College girls, give a nigga head in my rap. Rockstar life, so much money, I'll make you laugh. Hey, the bitches they hate, and you can't miss what you never had. Hey, off the juice, coding got me tripping. Got the coupe, walker roof is missing. Ice, lemonade, my neck was tripping. Ice, lemonade, my neck was tripping.
Hattie boys got some 60s in my bag. Lips sealed, ain't pillow talking, I'm no rag. In my earlobe, got 2 carats, VVS. Got a penthouse near Rodeo, off the stairs. All this money when I grew up, I had nothing. Filled with backstabbing, my whole life's disgusting. Can't believe it, gotta thank God that I'm living comfortably. Getting checks I don't believe, but she say she done with me. Burn some bridges and I let the fire light the way. Kicking my feet up, left the PJs on a PJ. Yeah, I'm a big dog and I walk around with no leash. I got water on me, yeah, everything on Fiji.
Zany boss, suicide door, brand new bag. College girls, give a nigga head in my raps. Rockstar life, so much money, I'll make you laugh. Hey, the bitches they hate, and you can't miss what you never had. Hey, off the juice, coding got me tripping. Got the coupe, walker roof is missing. Ice, lemonade, my neck was tripping. Ice, lemonade, my neck was tripping. A rockstar, pick up cars, the big walls, hey. Add up golf, and it dance, and explores, hey. I was 15, I took codeine with my dog, hey. Did it Percocet, but methazine, I feel nauseous. Put up a stick and I hop on a plane, still in my wallways. Shit is so risky, I gotta be gifted, he blessed me with fortune and fame. I remember for 50, I couldn't go back empty, I knew I was stuck to the game. Loyal and I never change, I'm never gonna go against the grain. I'm never gonna be the one turn on my brother when police just gotta detain. I won't ever love a bitch more than my mother, and that's on my government name. I can't be no sucker, I ain't hating on no one. I wish everybody get paid, cause we counting up every day. Getting hot talent in the grave. Zany boss, suicide door, brand new bag. College girls, give a nigga head in my raps. Rockstar life, so much money, I'll make you laugh. Hey, the bitches they hate, and you can't miss what you never had. Hey, hey, off the juice, clothing got me tripping. Got the coupe, walker roof is missing. Ice, lemonade, my neck was tripping. Ice, lemonade, my neck was tripping.
No good. Sleep's all about too high or too low, and I'm going to show you where your comfort level would be. That's why I invented my pillow.
You know, that feels better.
Right, that's better.
Much better.
You're sleeping better. So every morning you're getting up like... You're getting up like... You know, it's not good. Like... You're getting up like...
I'm an incel myself, so do you know what an incel is? Involuntary celibate. It's like a community of people on the internet who can't get laid, and some of them go out and like kill people, like Elliot Rodger. I'm not saying
I'm cringing right now.
I'll explain it later. The virgin is the incel, involuntarily celibate, who never gets laid. He's like unable to get laid. He's very nerdy. He has terrible posture, and that would be someone that would be considered a crab.
Holy shit, dude.
This is a short ad break by Hassan Piker. I want you to redistribute the wealth to Mall Brawl by order of Communist Turkey. Follow his Twitch streams at Mall Brawl.
It's cool. There's like 8 sinks, so.
I love that.
Wait, what the heck? Bro, what this? What that? What is this? I said I would clap the fucking shit out of Ben Shapiro's ass cheeks, dude. Oh, that's terrible.
I'm gonna take that as a
Wait, how old are
compliment.
you?
16. Just kidding.
Okay, bye. What a fucking liar, dude. 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 Holy shit, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking weasy little liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking weasy little liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking weasy little liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. Liar, dude. Liar, dude. What a fucking 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 weasy little liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking weasy little liar,
Hello, chat. Hello, hello. How are you? Welcome. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're all doing well on this very rainy day here in New York City. Very rainy. I hope it's a little nicer wherever you are, whatever time of day it is. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So, I realized I didn't put a title up on this. So we're gonna do this. Nope, that's not it. Is it that one? There we go. Okay. Just gonna get rid of that for now. Today. I don't know if anyone caught me yesterday on Dan Simpson's channel. We were talking labor solidarity, and I had some controversial takes. Some takes that I don't think were fully understood, appreciated. So I'm going to elaborate on them here today. If you have come by my channel before, it is a topic that I've discussed previously. The antitrust and labor law and how they intersect. But I had 30 minutes to, dump my brain out for what I wanted the listeners to hear, and I don't think that was enough time. So we're going to pick it up here today, and I'm going to do something I hate to do, despise doing. Reviewing my own work. I fucking hate it. I will edit anyone else's papers, critique anyone else, look at their shit. Very good editor. I enjoy editing. Just not my own edits. Fucking hate it. Would prefer to do anything else in the world but edit my own work. Or, God forbid, watch myself on camera. So I'm going to do that today with you folks. So let me hold on. Let me do something. All right. I wanted to get my laptop. What was I saying? I hate watching myself. So I'm going to watch myself here and use it as a means to elaborate on what the fuck I was trying to talk about yesterday. Yeah. And I hope that some people swing by, some real people, not some bots, so that we can have a discussion. What a fucking liar, dude. Liar, dude. Liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. Hold on. I'm trying to multitask, but my brain is fried. Running on like a quarter of a cylinder of brain power. Liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. All right. FYI, I'm going to be lurking. I'm chowing on a Mondo burrito, bruv. No worries, Smokey. Enjoy. What a fucking liar, dude. Liar, dude. Liar, dude. What a fucking liar, dude. All right. I'm multitasking to no great success. Let's switch to the screen. So, again, doing my least favorite thing in the world, watching myself. So, this may catch the end of Ravana's portion, or it may just pick up right at me. I might have snagged it properly. But we're gonna take a look. And I guess so to begin, throughout the day, Dan had some incredible people on to talk about labor solidarity and their experience with it, and it was phenomenal. I really appreciated Kenzo's portion. Hearing from a teacher that's on the front lines of the Chicago public school, labor organizing. I commend him, and I commend that movement. 2 mics. Oh yeah, you're gonna be seeing double. It's not as good as Amaranth's twins licking ears. I'm sad to say. But so I pop on. Everyone's telling these great stories about their experience with labor solidarity, labor organizing. And here comes my fucking dumbass with some hot takes. And granted, I stand by my hot takes. I am in no way retracting what I said. I hope to educate you more on my understanding of this. But I'm like, I come in there and obviously I'm going to talk too much. Hence the name. And, I came in with a brain dump. And I think I definitely missed highlighting certain points that I think are important. And so, throughout the day with these incredible stories, there's a mixture here of these stories of employee organizing and labor solidarity with gig workers. And I want to really highlight this point. Really highlight this fucking point. There's two distinct, very distinct. New follower. Thank you, Camarada Chewy. Let me know if I pronounced that properly. There's two distinct labor classifications being discussed, and two distinct labor classifications that need to be understood when talking about labor. Not only that, my thesis is to understand how to prevail or make inroads in labor movements. There's 3 areas of law that we as leftists are going to need to have an understanding of, even on just a surface level, in order to not fuck up, essentially, and not put others at risk. My biggest fear, and this is why you'll see me start my first hot take, is the idea and the discourse of the general strike needs to end. General strike, in our current position as labor, labor power, the idea of the general strike is far away. And if we were to have a general strike right now, there would be so many people who lose their livelihood and have no safety net, because the government and corporations crack down on the type of labor organizing, because under the law, a lot of our labor is precluded from organizing, and it implicates antitrust laws, and that's what I was discussing with Dan. Did not, however, and this is important, discuss the... All right, I've gotten my burrito more under control. I'm glad my first comment read as cringy as I wanted it to. I always love some bruv hatred. Something I didn't get to come across, and I think, thinking back on it more today, not highlighting this distinction of employee versus independent contractor and how that intersects with corporate law, because really, under labor law, most laborers at this point are considered contractors or their own corporations, and not employees, and really not laborers. They are corporations or independent contractors. And there's this very blurred line in that area of corporate law and labor law. And that's one of the cruxes of the issue. And that's what activists that have been fighting for California's AB 5 against Prop 22. Those who have endorsed the ABC test for employment, what they are focusing on is the fact that the law does not consider independent contractors as employees. Thus, they are precluded from labor protections. Thus, they are implicated under antitrust law as being individual corporations, actors, firms. So, my second controversial point, after I thought I had laid out some history, and I'll go through more because there's a lot that I missed. I was trying my hardest to get out everything I needed in a short amount of time. But that's fine. I need practice doing that. Second controversial point was that franchisees are our friend in this fight. They're a potential ally. A potential ally in this fight. And why I say they're a potential ally in this fight is because they too are being exploited under the guise of an independent contractor, when in reality, they're nothing less than, a mid-level manager that's actually left to do most of the work. And, full disclosure, I have no ties to any sort of franchisee except for having worked for Subway with Smokey the Bear at a franchisee Subway location. But the distinction that needs to be made here is that these are not small businesses in the traditional small business Subway artist. Traditional small business as you would think of the fucking dipshit that owns his own Ski-Doo fucking sales floor. This is not the same as, the fancy restaurant owner that, is pretty much, the angel owner, not there on the floor, not working themselves. This is usually, and I'm never talking about franchisees that are owned as a portfolio by investors. I'm talking like immigrant owned, largely, especially in metropolitan areas, immigrant owned, small franchise locations for things like Dunkin' Donuts, Subway, 7-Eleven, as popular ones for immigrants because they have a lower entry threshold. I believe Dunkin' Donuts is roughly like $10,000, which in the grand scheme of things for the opportunities that, people believe that owning a franchise may afford to them is a low threshold of entry. Especially with like community support. And then those people, those franchise owners really hold no capital. They are largely putting in the hours themselves, and with their family to run the store. And these are the people I'm talking about as allies. They are getting exploited. They're getting exploited as well. And made to, be propped up as a target that we can, pit ourselves against. Costs of employment are offloaded onto them so that they look like the bad guy to obscure the actual bad guy, the large corporations. So as you listen to this, and obviously I'll fucking pause an obby, I'll stop, I'll fucking talk some more. But as you're watching this, keep that in the back of your mind. Franchisees are treated under the law the same way a Twitch streamer is treated. Especially, if that Twitch streamer would have, or that Uber driver would happen to employ someone else, which in theory they could. Employ someone, not contract with someone, employ someone. Offer them benefits, whatever the minimum requirement is. They could employ them. Just like a franchisee could employ people and would be treated the same under the law. Their labor rights and their antitrust rights, and even their corporate filings, because if you're a smart independent contractor, you have set up an LLC as a pass-through where corporate law comes in. So you're treated the same. And they may have a little bit more capital because they're like a tick higher in society than an Uber driver may be. They might have slightly more capital. Pennies more. So they may be a potential ally. So, those are my 2 points of understanding the other areas of law that interconnect and intersect to make like this full body of law that is going to affect labor in the traditional sense of like, manual, intellectual, creative work. My fucking hair is like not long enough to like push back, but push forward. It's just too long that I got a little fucking tickler in my eye. I'm not having it. I watched obviously Many Saints of Newark last night, and my Italian's coming in hard today. So these 3 bodies of law that make up laws that affect laborers or implicate laborers in labor organizing, and who our potential allies may be, looking beyond the obfuscation that these corporations have tried to put up through the history of disenfranchising labor by creating franchisees and independent contractors. All right, I will. It might be like fucking hailing outside here. I don't fucking know. I don't know, man. All right. All right, hold on. I fucking hate Twitch's player.
One of the things I've been, I look at Ray and I'm like, oh fuck, man. If I wasn't so distracted by like bullshit lib media, I might be big brain by then. Or by my age. Rather than now. Hey Aaron, welcome. And Adam's here too. A damn Defarge. Everyone give him a damn Defarge a follow.
Okay. How do I do this without
Skype invite here?
Also find me on Twitter.
Oh, there we go.
Find me on Twitter for some spicy hot takes at Cut the
See,
Mic as well.
Alright, I want to drop.
So fucking nasally. Is that how I sound? Am I just nasally? Who the fuck's calling me? God damn it. Chat, do I sound that nasally? All right, chat, thanks.
Which cut the mic right there.
Appreciate
Let's
it.
double check that. Mike, he, him, cut the mic. Excellent. We're doing it, dude. Look
There
at
we
that.
go.
Hold on. I got the glasses too.
Beard, glasses, you know?
Yeah.
I should have shaved yesterday like I did today.
The record button.
I look like shit.
Dude, awesome. I just love your setup, honestly. The lights look great.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you. Appreciate it.
It's not blue enough though.
No, not at all. I mean, I
Blue's the
might
new
be
thing.
able to like find the remote. I would turn on the lights, but yeah,
Do you have like
that'll,
the fancy color lights too?
yeah, in one of these squares, there's some lights.
Cool. So really stoked to be with you today. I'm just sort of.
Is
like
it just because I was coming through Skype and I don't have all my fancy filters and shit on? Do I sound that bad? Chat, are you there?
like I haven't taken a deep breath all today, so I'm gonna take a deep breath.
Take your time.
Hey, I really appreciate.
I'm so
you joining
patient
me.
and kind.
Looking forward to chatting with you a little bit about this topic of the week, class solidarity.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna go a little bit of a different route than some of the other guests. And
Yep. And here's where it all goes wrong. No, I'm just beating myself up.
you know, when you're ready, I'll start. But I will.
I really, it's rough. Sounding very nasally there. Maybe I had to blow my nose.
We'll be starting off with a controversial take, and then
I thought I was so cool saying that. I'm just gonna be shitting on myself. This is gonna be a fun. All right, chat. Are you ready for some self depravity? Is that the word? Self hatred? I don't know. Here we go.
a little legal history, and we'll bounce around a bit.
I don't know what I'm on today.
Yeah, starting out with controversy, and I'm hoping my legal history here kind of fits nicely with what some of the other guests have talked.
One, chat, be prepared. You're about to see Dan and his silkies. Two, the legal history that I'm trying to discuss here is the change in the beginnings of the change from in like the late 60s, early 70s, from an employment model where the corporation owns all of the different means of productions and has full control over the workers as employees, to this new model where everyone's an independent contractor. Pretty much everyone's an LLC is how you might want to think of it. And honestly, just everyone should be an LLC, because that seems how to be, the way that we're fucking moving in. Just make yourself an LLC. Just be prepared. Make an LLC. Put all your fucking money through the LLC. That's what the fucking chud Republicans do. That's what all the corporations and the rich, wealthy people do. They just have tons of LLCs. So everyone just make a fucking LLC and then just like swap your money between it and like avoid taxes and shit. This is not legal or financial advice. But so there's that switch in the late 60s, 70s that's going on. And, when people talk about union busting in that time, or, breaking up unions, they're not only like talking about breaking up unions, but really what you are doing is the beginnings of the misclassification of workers as independent contractors rather than employees. So by doing that, you de facto break up the unions because there's no employees to unionize because they're all independent contractors. That's the point. That's what you're driving home. Or I'm trying to drive home. There's this change in the 60s, 70s. Unions are busted up de facto because there's no more employees to unionize. Everyone's an independent contractor. And that's why places like, McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, shit like that, they're actually in a second wave. It was first, this reorganization of how we think of supply chains and economics from this model where one corporation is in full control of everything under the umbrella of that corporation, to a model where that corporation is still in control of a lot of things, but it is all contracted out. So there's an obfuscation. It's a fucking word that I'm going to trip and fall over constantly. Whatever, of the power dynamic and control over those workers or those people that are being contracted. So that happens first in like distributor centers. Wow, I cannot talk. I promise I'm not drunk. Distributor centers. There's a case with Schwinn bicycles and how they are licensing out their merchandise for resale. It begins there. It moves into like fast food and restaurants, where you could now like license out the brand essentially and control your franchisees. Again, obfuscate the control. You're still exerting the same control pretty much, with some different language than you were when you straight up owned the the restaurants all over the country and we're just hiring employees to manage them. Now you're saying that that person, that is just essentially managing a restaurant is, now the owner. And because we say that he's the owner on paper, essentially, we have less control. And the language in our guidelines and our franchisee handbook changes the language so it seems less controlling, or that there's false options. And then that we are now seeing that come climax with Uber drivers, and it is moving out beyond that. Twitch streamers, content creators, a bunch of different journalists, bunch of different sectors that have taken on this model to great success for those corporations, because they're able to exert control without the liabilities of exerting control, and then gain all the benefits. So I will unpause.
About because I was seeing we had talk about employee relationships and like unionizing.
That music was playing in the background the whole time. I didn't realize that.
Employees, and then some gig economy work. So I kind of want to highlight something there and kind of discuss.
You can tell I have notes.
How we got to that situation where we have these two kind of distinct.
So a little legal history of organizing specifically.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's do it. Perfect. Love it. I know we've had just a little bit of discussion about this in the past, as we had a little behind the scenes chat about unions in general, and and I know that didn't quite pan out. Just I think it's a reality hit me like, holy shit, this is a ton. This is going to be a ton. Yeah. But I'm happy to continue this because we got to move in this direction, not only small scale but just large scale. So let's go. Let's do this. Hit me.
All right, we're in it. All right. So my hot take is the general strike discourse needs to be put on the back burner for a little bit. Oh, getting
the Silkies.
Silkies.
I got a long story, but yeah, the Silkies are super comfortable, and I was trying to hide that as much as I can, but everyone got a little glimpse of my
we got a little shot.
Hamstring. Yeah.
I mean, that's the content there. I saw the viewership go up a bit.
I hate it. I hate it.
Let's go. There
we go.
Let's make some content, baby.
Phase 3, Dan Simpson.
So you're saying general strike?
Yeah.
No, just it's not. Why do we? Just don't even. We shouldn't even talk about it. Hit me.
Not now. It's definitely something worth talking about in the future. Okay. But as all the guests have kind of pointed out, there's smaller power building that needs to go on kind of before we get there. And one of the reasons I want to highlight the fact that argue that the general strike should take a back burner is it puts.
Chat was hating. And I pop in this chat regularly saying general strike, no go. But thank you, Ravana. Shouts out for having my back in chat. Yeah, because I'm not wrong. I'm sorry, Kavas Residue. I ain't wrong.
It's too many people at risk in the current legal system without providing any support to help them, mitigate any of those risks that are now inherent in the structures of how we organize.
Okay.
So the story I'm going to start out with, it's a case. It's from.
I'm not usually punny, but that was my once a month opportunity. Glad you're here.
1990s. So this case kind of is axiomatic of, I don't know if I said that word right.
I love it.
We're lucky I speak any words correctly. So this case, it's the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, against trial lawyers in D.
I'll be honest. I was pretty nervous. I didn't realize how nervous I was. I was, that was the biggest viewership I've talked in front of. And I was making very controversial statements for this chat. And I knew I was coming into this chat with some controversial statements for a lot of them.
DC. So there's these DC trial lawyers that were representing indigent defendants in criminal court. So, defendants.
I don't even know if I said that word right.
So these aren't public defenders working for any sort of organization. They're just contracted lawyers hired by the court. And sorry, I was reading chat at the same time.
Yeah.
They're hired by the court to represent these defendants. And they're, this is in 1990.
I made the mistake. I should, not that Dan's chat is ever in any way really volatile. He does a good job of, keeping chat under control. But I should not have been watching chat. It was definitely throwing me off. Also, I just opened Twitch, and what is it? Since when are promoted channels? Since when is this a thing? Does anyone know? So when the fuck did they start doing this? Is that part of the boosted thing, or is this a separate promoted channel? And it hides the viewership when it's up. It's interesting. Low T. All right.
90s, and they're getting like $20 an hour for in-court appearances, or I think 30 in court, 20 out of court. And they're simply asking for a $20 raise on each of those per hour to represent, do this good work. Seems fair.
Oh, thank you.
In order to push the DC.
Was that Dan with a raid? Hello. I will pause. Ooh, yeah, very meta. Hello. Welcome, chat. Welcome. How are you? I'm reviewing. I'm doing my least favorite thing in the world, and that is watching myself talk on video or reviewing any of my work in general. Despise it. I did not realize how nasally I was. But I am doing the meta here, reviewing our discussion yesterday, Dan and I, and hopefully will clarify a bit some of my more controversial statements. I was talking before the raid here how really I was trying to drive home the point of, or the the history of this change in employment, corporate, and antitrust law in the late 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And, we talk about how there was union busting at that time, or breaking up the unions. I guess my point is, one of the ways that was done was by changing employment status to independent contractors. So then there's no employees to unionize. So thank you all for this meta raid. I appreciate it. Love your face. Thank you for stopping by. I'm gonna keep going with this, unless anyone has objections to the meta.
Court, it's not a state court, but whatever. They're a small federal circuit.
Hey guys,
that's unimportant. But
and see, Limitless, that was the point. I'm glad that I got your brain spinning. I was hoping my controversial takes would do just that. Thank you for the follow, and thank you Tech Guy 420 for the follow. It was definitely something that it took me a while to understand, and I have been trying to talk through it as much as I can to fully wrap my head around it, and do as much research as possible. So one of my clarifications was the idea of a franchisee is not the same as like a small business owner. And I was using the example, and actually Benny Box 420 had you had said this to me. Sophisticated taste in throw pillows. Thank you. So, I don't know if you know, but Nick Cage he's over here. He's a Coppola. He's a Francis Ford Coppola's nephew. And the Coppolas and I share an origin in southern Italy. So they're paisanos. Yeah, I'm always going to want to jump into understanding before jumping into no, I hate it. Yeah, no, I agree. And that's, that's an open mind. And I'm glad that, you come into it with an open mind. But so it's fair to say that a franchisee is sort of like a small time landlord, like not the worst. No. So I guess that's my point. What I was trying to make a bit yesterday. And I think I definitely clarified, earlier in the stream, we're not looking at like a small business owner, like, the dipshit that owns a Ski-Doo sales floor, in suburbia. Really, so what happens in the 70s, and this is like the second wave of independent contractors and like this reorganization of labor. Restaurant businesses, fast food chains largely go from a direct ownership and employment model. So like a model where they own the restaurant and then directly employ people there. And when I say employ, I'm using like the legal employment term. So they would directly own it and then employ those employees and then therefore have to provide benefits for those employees. But then they realized, because other sectors, largely wholesalers and redistributors, go to this contracting model, they realized that they could obfuscate. I stumble constantly on that word. Obfuscate the relationship between the lead corporation, McDonald's, and what used to be the manager of like the employee at the restaurant. They now make that person an independent contractor and say that they're a small business owner, but really they're a glorified manager. And I don't mean that to like minimize what they're doing, but they are not given the resources to run that on their own or be really supported by McDonald's. So they have to run it on their own. And those people, usually work at those restaurants, those fast food chains, and then they employ people. So the lead firm McDonald's has obfuscated the power relationship with, thank you for the host, Tech Guy 420. They've obfuscated the power relationship between the lead firm and the franchisee. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Said that they're like now a small business owner. Push off the employment liabilities to them. Yes, but a manager only in, like they've been given the duties of now employing those people and providing them benefits. And you always hear like Republicans, the true like small business owner, like, chud. Yes, manager, but with the liability of employee. Like chuds get all upset, like, oh, employment taxes are gonna, or you raise the minimum wage and you raise the employment taxes, then, it's gonna cut into our bottom line. Bah, bah, bah. Those big businesses that have the resources to hold those liabilities are pushing it off onto this person who is like, a glorified manager. We're small franchisees, not, not someone that owns a portfolio of franchisees. I'm talking about typically McDonald's, 7-Eleven, Subway, and I'm not McDonald's. I'm sorry. Dunkin' Donuts, 7-Eleven, Subway. Because they have a low threshold of entry. It's like $10,000 for a franchisee. But they have to pay the corporation, similar to how like a Twitch streamer is going to pay 50 to 60% of their, their subbies to Amazon. You're paying, I don't know exactly the split with franchisees, but you're paying a portion of those profits to Dunkin' Donuts, to Subway. And then Subway, Dunkin' Donuts, whatever, is double dipping because they're also, by way of an obfuscated control in like a recommended distributors or recommended sources for their food. A lot of them are owned by that corporation. You're given like 5 suggestions, but you really can only pick from those 5. And 3 of them are owned by Dunkin' Donuts. Other ones are probably getting some, their Dunkin' Donuts is getting some portion of, the cut of what their franchisees are paying into. So it's all going back to Dunkin' Donuts. But then the liabilities and day-to-day management and whatever is left on the franchisee owner, who, again, is really just a small business owner for corporate tax purposes, more than anything, and as a way to shell off, which has exploited almost $10,000. I fucking believe it. And that's crazy to think about. Off of doing nothing but hosting shitty servers. Did I just drop a shit ton of bit rates? All right, I'm winded from that. I talk too much and then I get myself out of breath. But yeah, so really what they're doing in one sense is, and I was saying this earlier, forcing everyone to just become an LLC. Like you're very well off to just become an LLC. That's for circling back and Mike explaining that to me. You missed, like right before you rated, we had your silkies on screen. I won't go back to it, but it was nice to see again. It was a nice little surprise. You got to make sure to cut that out of the YouTube. All right, I'm gonna go back to the meta. I'm gonna zoom in. I'm telling you, that's the content. Your viewers will go up. All right, we're gonna continue this, and I'm gonna step away to go pee. So listen to me some more on here.
For about a week. So eventually the courts give in and give them that pay raise, but FTC at that time said, this is no good. You violated the Sherman Antitrust Act. And now you're I see your face there. Sherman Antitrust Act, we're talking about labor solidarity and labor unions, and labor organization. But, a big component that I think we're missing, especially in the gig economy, is this idea of where antitrust intersects with labor law. So they end up going to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says this is a clear violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act because you're price fixing and you're restraining trade. Now they say they're restraining trade because, this is a group.
Actually, my face was, I don't remember what the Sherman thing is. So I sprinted over here to highlight something. Another important idea to understand. McDonald's employees used to be able to unionize. I don't know if they were actually in a union. They had the ability to prior to this franchisee change, because all of the people that worked at a McDonald's worked for McDonald's. They were directly employed by McDonald's. Their their wages came from, this was top 3 interviews of yesterday. It was thought provoking. Thank you, Limitless. I'm very glad it was thought provoking. The McDonald's employee wages came from a budget line in McDonald's, coming out of McDonald's bank account. Now, because they've made this franchisee shift so that McDonald's does not own a single physical McDonald's restaurant. They own the brand McDonald's. They own the McDonald's brand, and they license that brand out or franchise that brand out. It's a little bit different than licensing. They franchise the brand out to franchisees who then directly employ people. So you could only, therefore, potentially unionize against this franchisee who may only own one store and is maybe making a profit of, $1,000 a month. Yes, exactly, tech guy. So another way that they're double dipping, they'll own the land, they'll lease that out to you so that you could just be under the fucking more control of McDonald's. So the employees collectively of McDonald's cannot build solidarity together because under the law, they're made to be separate because they each are only employed by their individual franchisee. And then we could get into the idea of, a portfolio of franchisees, where, there may be 5 stores that could organize against this particular portfolio. But that's really the extent of the power that you're able to build, because you cannot organize against McDonald's because you have no relation to McDonald's except that you are representing their brand. And that is like counterintuitive. You think like, oh, you're representing the brand. That means like you're employed with them. But no, you have absolutely no, little bit of an overstatement, but like no legal tie to McDonald's, and surely not enough hook to be able to organize them against them. Only organize against that small franchisee because that person directly employs you, because McDonald's shoved all that liability off. They precluded themselves from having to deal with organizing because they shoved that off. And they further did that with the franchisees. So now you can't even be like, 5 disgruntled franchisees because their employees are disgruntled because, McDonald's is making them buy burgers from McDonald's, newly owned burger ranch, and McDonald's has jacked up the price 25 cents a pound, directly cutting into the slim margins of profits that these franchisees may be making. Those 5 franchisees in South Orange, New Jersey, because I was watching this, Many Saints of Newark, they can't even organize as business owners against McDonald's to say, cut the shit, because they are now considered, separate small business owners. So if they work together to say McDonald's, I won't cover the camera, say McDonald's, cut us a break, whatever the fuck they want to say to them, the FTC is going to swoop in and say, this is a violation of antitrust law. And we can look at the Sherman antitrust law, but the way it's taught in schools, and like the only place you'll really hear about it is in your history class talking about the progressive era, when you'll hear it described as breaking up monopolies. It was so great. Yeah, it was great for about 20, 30 years. Then the conservatives realized that, we were limiting profits and, the power of corporations. and said, no, we got to fucking change something here. So the conservatives swoop in, they fucking decide to change it, and that's where we get these shitty antitrust independent contractor ideas. The same, it's all the same players, my brother. All the same players. It's fucking U Chicago, it's Milton Friedman, it's Robert Bork, it's the fucking neolibs at, I forget the fucking Mount whatever conference they were at. They were all cooking it up. And it's really coming to a head right now, almost like 50 years in the making. It's really coming to a head. Uber was a game changer for this model. Mount Pelerin. Listen, I don't know how I'm gonna become a lawyer because I can't read words. Yep. Yeah. Exactly it. It's this. It's the U Chicago School. You'll more you hear about it more as just U Chicago School of Economics. Yeah. But it's really the idea of law and economics, and that law part gets forgotten a lot. But it was economists trying to do law and kind of influencing these new legal structures. I thought there was a legit page for it for them. This man, this evil little fuck, who, such a shame because the campus is beautiful. Hey, some actual leftists have come out of there. And this is one of them. Marshall went to U Chicago. He's an economist. He does a lot of work. He's a poster. He's a straight up poster. Happy Potter-esque. He writes a lot about this, and him, Nathan Tankus, and Sangjukta Paul, have all worked together. They have some podcasts where they talk to each other. Sangjukta just had a piece come out in the Yale Law Review about this, but she also... Thank you, Dan Simpson. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Love your face. Hi, Dan Simpson. You are my very first donation. Thank you very much. I gotta remember the blog. Law of Political Economy. Noise. Sangjukta writes on this blog a lot. This blog is a very good source for some of these ideas. Blog. So I think Marshall has written on here. Sangjukta definitely has. Nathan might, but if not, Nathan has a newsletter. No, it's on this is his Substack. Okay, he's left Substack. He's a poster as well. Oh, he's just here now. Okay. Fuck's the blog. He's writing more about the economy rather than the law, and he deals a lot with the Fed. You're writing about the Fed. So he's more of he's a little bit tangential to what we were talking about, but definitely a good source. All right, we're gonna go back to this. Listen to my fucking nasally voice.
Group of small business owners, because they're independent contractors, and they're pulling themselves out of the market, and they're coordinating with each other to do that. So that is different businesses coming together, not creating a monopoly, but kind of that same theoretical idea, like they're coming together.
Okay, I'm just like blah, 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 stumbling over my words. So FTC trial lawyers, they're advocating for a pay raise. They go on a boycott. That boycott is successful for them. They do get that pay raise, but despite that, the FTC, who Bork may be the Solicitor General. Is he still up here? He's right here. No, he's just finished as a acting Attorney General. But Borkians, the Federalists, they're still in these positions. We could figure out who the Solicitor General was at the time, but the Solicitor General is arguing on behalf of the FTC at the Supreme Court, and so they're despite DC saying, "Great, we love this labor activity. We think you're worth the raise." FTC says, "Nah, fuck that. This is a perfect opportunity because lawyers love testing things on lawyers. They think that no one notices because we are the fucking scum of the earth, leeches on society, so no one cares. It's true. But that's, if you want to see where they're gonna hide shit, look at. So there's two things you could find by looking at cases against lawyers or groups of lawyers. That's where they test out a lot of affirmative action, equal protection. Brown v. Board of Ed originally, the lower stakes case and trying out these arguments where it was tried out on law schools, desegregating law schools, affirmative action law schools. But the chuds do that too, because again, no one cares about lawyers. We're A-Lab. We're all fucking bastards. So they try it out on the lawyers. No one cares. The FTC is able to push this through. I'm sure there was pushback from labor activists, but the conservatives had the control. They pushed this through. The FTC now says that antitrust law precludes you. Oh, and this is, Dan, if you're still around, this is Sherman Antitrust Act says that you essentially can't price fix, and you can't restrain trade. So businesses cannot come together to say, this is what we're going to this is the price we're all going to ask of the consumer. And you can't restrain trade, meaning you can't collectively boycott. Those are the two things you need to essentially know about the Sherman Antitrust Act. So what these trial lawyers, what the FTC says is they've price fixed because they've come together as independent contractors, i.e. small businesses under the corporate structure. They've come together to price fix, to say this is the amount that we want for our labor. And then they boycott as their way of leveraging power to get that. And the FTC says price fixing, restraint of trade because of the boycott. You can't do that because you're all independent contractors, i.e. small businesses under the corporate law. So that is the same as two corporations coming together trying to form monopolized power. So the irony of it is these 20 or some odd lawyers who are simply providing a service for the government in representing indigent defendants. Defendants can't pay their own legal fees. Also, the government's fault. They step in to pay them or to defend them at a lower rate, because technically you are small businesses under a corporate, corporate law, rather than employees under labor law. You cannot organize together because that means it's businesses coming together to create monopolized power. So it's fucking farcical. It's ironic on its face that you could say laborers who are just misclassified. So that's why you hear in Uber is like the misclassification of Uber drivers, because they are not employees of Uber. They are independent contractors working technically with Uber. So if Uber drivers try to price fix in any sector of the market, whether they're effective or not, they ask for $1 more on whatever Uber's cutting them. They're at risk for antitrust. Amazon just out here doing whatever. Yeah, and same thing with Twitch streamers. So, one of my theses, and I'll throw this on the Substack at some point once it has some more edits. Technically, Twitch streamers boycotting on the day off, even though it was like very small, and it has like Twitch or the FTC doesn't have to prove that there's an adverse impact to the market. They just have to prove that the actions happened. So that, like, if the FTC were to go after Twitch streamers that took the day off, all they have to say is you're independent contractors and you restrained trade, you boycotted, by coming together and organizing. There's the price fixing is not, you don't have to hit both of those for Sherman antitrust. They're different parts of the statute. You just have to hit one of them to be liable for that, that section of the statute. I mean, yeah. Twitch would never, like, it is in no one's benefit to go after those streamers. One, the FTC, to the FTC, Twitch is like child's play. Like, literally, they probably have no clue what it is. Maybe their grandchildren watch Minecraft streamers, but like, so that's the extent of it. Like, there was some talk about like esports, like unionizing or whatever, or like organizing, but that even had a different layer because that was organizing against the teams largely, rather than like Amazon or Mixer at that time when it was being talked about. So like FTC, Twitch is nothing to them. They're not going to bother. And then it was a perfect win for Amazon or Twitch to get like a woke capitalist win. This makes me curious what you think about the October strike on the 15th. No one should do it. If you're an independent contractor, like, unless you know that there's strike protections set up for you, which you can do, like, there could be organizing to that extent where you could like gather money to have, a de facto strike fund or a legal fees fund, because you're all gonna, there's a potential for you to be sued or have adverse legal action taken against you. So this just like this idea that laborers can just boycott on a day in a very unorganized fashion on its face is like, damning to the movement because it just puts too many people at risk. Like I said, whether or not the FTC would go after Twitch, a handful of Twitch streamers, I don't think that's very likely, especially the way Twitch reacted to it. Like I said, it's just a woke capitalist win for them. But there are sectors that I think Uber would be ripe for the picking. I'm very worried about Instacart. I actually have not had a chance to look into it more, but that worries me. Those are independent contractors. People that you don't think would be independent contractors are. I thought it was very it was interesting to hear, and I wish I got to talk to her directly about it, to hear Christina, she's a cleaning lady. A lot of cleaning ladies, cleaning persons, janitorial staff, custodial staff, whatever you'd like to call them, a lot of cleaning service jobs are independent contractors. Independent contractor model. So there was examples of WeWork custodians going on different labor, or doing different labor actions, and they're independent contractors, and they were very, very limited in what they were able to do as independent contractors. They protested, but you had to be careful of when you protest, because it had to be not on your shift, because you couldn't be boycotting your labor, because then that becomes an antitrust action. So you could protest, and they protested in front of WeWork, and they had other interested parties there protesting with them, but they couldn't hold that boycotting power over WeWork as the janitorial staff, because they don't have the right under the law as it's currently structured. So the October strike is, would have worked great if this was 1934, but it's not. We've come a long way. There's been a lot of changes to the law and to the protections that are afforded to workers, and just the structure of our economy, and that those all implicate each other. And it's too much of a risk. Wild sounds like the opposite of freedom. Seems like the right should be with us. Yeah. I worked for AT&T corporate for over 10 years and was independent contractor. They made it nearly impossible to get hired in corporate, which is union. Exactly. And that's there are areas where there's traditionally unions, and those have kind of been able to, I don't know what the fucking idiom here is, or the adage or whatever. Whatever. They've standed the test of time or something. They've been able to hold their ground against this independent contractor movement, but there was a time in the 70s where it was clear house with as much as we can, and any spot that we could see, immediately turning to independent contractors, and we can win that battle, let's fucking go for it. So now, I say that we're coming to a head now with Uber, with proliferation of content creators, streamers, Instacart, and we had to rely heavily on these independent contractors throughout the pandemic, and more people got those jobs as they lost their employment jobs, as people as corporations shed employees because of the liability, and the resource liability, the monetary liability, legal liability, the benefits that they have to provide. That became too expensive for them, so they shed employees, and those employees went to what is the easy, gig economy. It's great. Your own boss, all this shit, that this propaganda that's put out by the gig companies. That was where the jobs were, even though it put your body at risk. But if you had to do it, you had to fucking do it. Even the proliferation of content creators, of streamers, fuck, I wish I had the statistic, but in 2021, in 3 quarters of 2021, Twitch has reached 9 million active streamers. It is a growth of like 3 million each year for the past 2 years throughout the pandemic. That was their biggest gains. From like 2019 to now, they almost doubled the number of active streamers. As at least partly due to the pandemic. Getting fucking hot in here. I also have a flannel on, but so like as you rely more and more on these on the gig economy, and as people are continued to be propagandized that it'll offer them some sort of freedom, you're just going to see more and more control exerted by those corporations, and more corporations trying to go that model because it is of such great benefit, like incomprehensible benefit for corporations to make everyone an independent contractor. And if you're an independent contractor, you should have an LLC. I would suggest that you talk to your lawyer or a money man and get an LLC, but this is not legal advice. This is just advice for you to talk to a lawyer. No, we've seen the fight to update the laws. Prop 22 in California is that whole saga, the AB5 and Prop 22. And that's what, during the Biden transition, there was talk of Prop 22 going national, or Prop 22 coming to New York. Like the idea of Prop 22. I'm going to go to the webcam because I'm not going to listen to myself anymore. I hate it. Yeah, Prop 22 is a travesty. AB5 took so much work and was such a hard-fought battle to then have it be undone by the sheer force of Uber and Lyft's money. They spent collectively $200 million compared to like I think 18 million that the opponents of Prop 22 raised. And with LLC was part of the incentive to be my own boss and all the tax write-offs, which in my eyes is part of the trap for them to convince people why being a subcontractor is better. Yeah, exactly. No, it is 1000% part of the trap. But if you're gonna be trapped, you're better off with like your lockpick in there. I don't know if that was a great analogy. It was really shitty. I'm sorry, but you get some benefit that you wouldn't otherwise if you're an independent contractor without an LLC. And really, the tax write-offs are fucking like nothing, unless you're making a lot. Sounded solid till you cut it down. There's a lot of self-deprivation here on this channel. Yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. I mean, I know generally what I was talking about. Not trying to discredit you for people who are subcontracted. It's very beneficial. I was just saying. Yeah, no, I understood. I got you, tech guy. Yeah, no, and that Prop 22. That's what we're talking about. And that's the rhetoric that was behind Prop 22 is like we're trying to let people be their own boss, and you, the like SJW libs, are like taking that away from us. You're taking away these people's opportunities to be their own boss, make their own schedule. But the funny thing is, and this is another person to look into. She's also a poster. Maybe I'll just pull her up on Twitter. Vina Duval. Vina writes a hell of a lot on Uber. Definitely follow Vina. She has a very good article discussing how, Uber says that you could be your own boss. And this is what I'm talking about, like the obfuscation of control. They say that you could be your own boss. And you could, make your own hours, whatever, drive however much you want to drive. But essentially, Uber's algorithm is tracking how long you drive each time. So after you've driven a good amount, whatever the algorithm needs to intake to make this determination, it'll say, okay, cut the mic spend driving weekdays between 6 and 9 and weekends between 4 and 12. But he will typically cut himself short and go home, especially on the weeknights, if he hits $100. So they determine both how long you need to drive and like how much they think you need to make for you to go home. And then they will start doing what's called personalized pricing. They will change your cut of that ride, whatever slight change they need to do. So it's almost imperceptible to you, but it'll make you drive longer. Because they'll make it so that it takes you longer to hit your $100 a night mark. So you're going to do more rides for less and keep driving for Uber longer. So they are, in fact, controlling when and for how long you drive. So you really aren't. The only people that may be their own boss in this Uber scenario are the retired person in Burlington, Vermont, that is driving for the companionship. It is very gross, Limitless. Vina's written a lot about it. She has a better understanding of me than me. Obviously, like she is really fucking into this, and this woman despises Uber, and I love it. But yeah, they do this personalized pricing. They've also, one of these models in like the gig economy is, I'm not going to get the term right. I'm going to call it inflated pricing, but I don't think that's the proper term. But what they do is, oh, Nick Cage, how I love thee. The man is one of the greatest actors of all time, if not the greatest actor. Can play any role. So, like, as Uber enters a new area, or as Lyft enters a new area of the country, they will both offer lower prices to customers and higher rates to drivers to get people in. But then that'll slowly go away. I have a friend terrified of him. I need to send her that pillow. It's great too, because you could, I'll show you in a second, but it's sequenced so you can move his eyes. Give him some demon eyes. Boggles my mind how anyone still works for Uber Lyft after they've gone from paying drivers 80% of the fares, so now drivers get maybe 30% if they're lucky. How the F Uber can justify taking 75 drivers' fare? Yeah, exactly. Oh, the nose. He's got a little nosebleed. It's spooky for Halloween. Yeah, so that it's predatory pricing. That's the fucking word. Predatory pricing. So you're getting consumers hooked, and you're getting drivers hooked because making 80% of your fares is a pretty good fucking cut, in the grand scheme of like what other jobs may be. So you're driving, getting 80% of the fare, and then all of a sudden it's down to 30 with like out any notice, and you have no way of saying anything. You gotta do it, so you're hooked. That's the predatory part of it. And I'll say this quietly, I foresee Twitch doing such things. They've already did it with how they're rolling back the ad revenue that's shared with streamers at the partner level in contracts and partner specific contracts. One of the reasons Tim the Tapman and Dr. Lupo left, as you see more of those like circa 2018, 2019 Twitch contracts expiring. That was your whisper louder. Oh, wow. Or how was your whisper louder? Who knows? I'm not very good with the technical aspects of this. But yeah, I foresee, and I could be very well wrong because who knows what these streamers will do. But if Twitch keeps going the way of cutting the amount and rolling back, doing this predatory pricing, rolling back some of the ad revenue, I'd for sure see some of those contracts that circa 2019 they start moving over. Didn't Twitch also increase ad watch times? I don't know. Doesn't surprise me if they did. and there's your predatory pricing. And that's a way of doing it. It's slightly different than how Uber did it, and it's not upping the subscription price to consumers, so they're not like harming consumers, but yeah, you got to get one of those GG pages just as a backup. We really just got to start Means TV too. Yeah, so they're not harming consumers directly, in a like tangible monetary way, and so if you're not okay, Tan Elf 5, I'm gonna ignore you, because I had a good point. Oh. So they could extract more revenue from the consumer by just making the ads longer. It's a pretty tame chud. It's my first of the day. Low energy troll. Yeah, Tan Elf, try again. I love the ones that wander in and just like kind of ask like innocuous, kind of like liberalish questions, and then they just like come in hard with the transphobia. Okay, Hitler wasn't a socialist, and Mao and Stalin weren't socialists either. They were Maoists and Stalinists. Later in the evening, they're losing steam. Like this just happened. They were showing off some new settings about how they can customize your ad watch time requirements. It had me thinking, these wonder new features, just a way to convince streamers that it's not a bad thing. Their viewers are forced to see more ads either way. Yeah. Okay, Tan Elf, that's different. And honestly, if you're going to troll, come in with the high energy. All right? Go big or go home. Like egging them on, and It's a socialist idea, man. Now he just sounds burnt out and high. Like, hey dude, where's my car? Hey man. Yeah, tech guy, this is interesting. I'm gonna look into this. Because yeah, that's another way that they're gonna hide it is like new features, but it's like, oh, we're tracking your ad watch time, so we could figure out how to make you watch more ads. Get him a beverage, man. We believe in you. You could do it. I need a beverage, but I gotta wait for Tan Elf to run his course. Yeah, usually you gotta like, it's like a dog that you gotta run around a bit. You know, like let him get out some energy. Tan Elf also think the DPRK is democratic. Yeah, we got to let the cat get the zoomies out. But, you know, Tan Elf came in a little tuckered out already. I'm waiting. He's still here. No, nothing. Alrighty. Yeah. All right. So something to watch out for. And then I still haven't figured out, because granted I have not read too much into it, but the stream boosting where you pay. Okay, good for you. I'm glad it killed a lot of people too. So yeah, you know, great for fucking you. Other people aren't because of capitalism. The streamer boost shit, whatever's going on, where you like, you the viewer pay to boost the streamer, but the streamer doesn't get any of the money, but they like, so right before you all came in, I saw on my Twitch homepage this promoted. I'd never seen this before, a promoted tag. Is this part of the, and this is a different person that was in here, my promoted section before, but is this part of that Twitch boost nonsense? Is it anywhere else? No, it's just that first one. And it hides the viewers, or the amount of viewers, and just says promoted. I don't even look at that stuff, honestly. Yeah, it just actually jumped out to me. Yeah, if it says promoted, it's one of the boosted ones. I raised from a family of business owner. My father is, my brother is, my cousins, etc. Tan Elf, you just hit the nail on the head with the hammer there. Oh, I see. The boosted icon. I didn't notice that was a little rocket ship. I'm glad, Tan Elf, that you were able to create generational wealth because you were able to use some sort of privilege. Your father is your brother. I don't think you get the attention you're looking for. Honestly, I do. I feel bad. For some degree of chud, I feel bad because, you know, they're wandering into a chat. They're looking for something. There's obviously others that just should evaporate, but Tan Elf seems like he's, you know, this low energy is leading me to believe he's looking for a friend. He really is. All the people he interacts with, you know, he's tyranting over. Father, brother is at work, so they are lonely. Yeah. My father is brother cousins. So there's a lot going on there. or any of your cousins female that own a business? Now I'm interested. I know people with privilege, but took the dark path and do drugs. Oh, it's like, it's not even inflammatory enough. Like, come on, man. It was dark path. What? You're like 75. Sips beer. Hits bong. Tan Elf. Some people turn to drugs because they are fucking awesome. They are fun. And everyone should be able to do them in a safe environment. The good ones. But some people turn to drugs because they have no choice. They're dealing with something and they're trying to escape. That's interesting because you're a skilled craftsman. It's interesting. Like, I do commend you for having a skilled trade. Crack addicts are nutty. You know what, Tan Elf? You're nutty. Bye-bye. Boop. Wasn't good enough to keep around. I've honestly, I think I've I've banned more people in here than I've had followers. That just tells you the culture on Twitch. I oddly enough get a lot of TERFs. And just a lot of transphobes. Transphobes, yeah, and this drug line I've seen in my chat. Not that I've chatted much, but yeah, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, why are you strolling into some random person's stream just being transphobic and like, I'm not even a trans person. Not that I want that, I'd rather them be transphobic and mean to me, because I could yell at them if I want to, and like, it doesn't affect me. But like, I don't even understand their logic. It's odd. It is odd. All right. Anyone got any candy? We've talked about some heavy topics. I was gonna watch Talking Sopranos. Has anyone watched the Many Saints of Newark? Anyone a Sopranos head? Sopranos not like me. My Italian was coming out last night. I was watching Dicky Moltisanti fucking beating people. No takers? Love Sopranos. Never heard of the other thing. All right, Limitless. We're going to watch the trailer. So, HBO made a prequel to The Sopranos. The Sopranos is the greatest television series about, just the POC Italian family trying to make it in America. And it's a great story of middle-class Americans. So HBO made a prequel to Sopranos. And I just watched the movie last night. So gory, LOL. Yeah, it was very gory. I watched it last night, too. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I have a lot of critiques. Probably too many, but I did overall enjoy it. But yeah, so it aging myself. I have all the DVDs because old. No, that's fine. I'm kind of jealous that you have the DVDs. We didn't have HBO growing up, but like whenever we got like the free like month or whatever, or we got like the special, like special rate or whatever, because you signed up with a deal. Wasn't allowed to watch Sopranos, and then wasn't allowed to watch The Godfather because my dad didn't want me to have a bad view of Italians as as mafios. Hell yeah, that free month, I know it well. Yeah, or like when you re-signed up your contract with Comcast or whatever, they would like throw you a bone and give you like 3 months of HBO at $2. So they made the prequel, and they've been filming it since like, or talking about it at least since 2018. They may have even released it on like the, you know, that it was going to be coming out on like the 5-year anniversary of James Gandolfini's death. I'm from Jersey. The Godfather was required. Yeah, my dad like tried to shelter me from stereotypes. So, you know, I grew up hunting and fishing, but I wasn't allowed to watch Bambi because it made hunters look bad, and my dad didn't want me like being soft and not wanting to hunt. And same, like he didn't want me to have this image of Italian Americans as like mafios, but like meanwhile, my great aunt, granted it was in her, you know, later years, but she always would say that your Uncle Joe, it would have been so much better if he was just in the mafia. Meanwhile, he worked for, you know, he laid fucking railroad track throughout New York and Connecticut. But so Many Saints of Newark, I was very confused at the title at first, and it's stupid now having watched it, what the title is invoking. But they kept billing it as a prequel movie focused on like the come up of Tony Soprano. So I was very, very confused when like there's not really that much Tony Soprano in it. It's really the story of Dickie Moltisanti, hence the Many Saints of Newark. Moltisanti, Many Saints in Italian. So we'll watch this trailer now.
When I was a kid, guys like me were brought up to follow codes.
Hey, jerk off. What'd you say? What?
Antonio Soprano.
I wonder if I can talk to you alone for a moment, Mrs. Soprano. On the basis of the Sanford Binet, he's high IQ.
You can't prove it by me. He's got a D+ average.
Well, he doesn't apply himself, but he is smart. The results tell us he's a leader.
Uncle Dick.
Growing up with the family takes a toll.
Maybe an ambassador to England or France.
You're my nephew. I want to do whatever I can to help you. My gift to you.
Dak Apollyon, it is so worth it. It is one of there's definitely like groups of episodes that aren't great, whatever, you know, it's definitely got its moments of but overall just a fantastic experience, and I highly suggest. Currently the like op-ed market is of Sopranos fucking opinion pieces is oversaturated, but like circa 2015 there was like some other I don't know why people were writing about it then. Maybe in 2013 it was, and it was after James Gandolfini's death, but there's a lot of like leftist analysis of the Sopranos. So there's a particularly a Nation piece, I believe, that talks about like situates the story from like a leftist perspective. But even, you know, without that, it's just like, especially in this moment of like the Italian memeing, it's fantastic.
I want to go to college. I can't get caught with shit like this.
Look, you take the speakers, right? At the same time, you say to yourself, this is the last time I'm ever gonna steal something. It's that simple.
Let me go talk to him.
He only listens to Dickie.
Gotta do something about Dickie Moltisanti. Maybe some of the things you do are God's favorite.
Thank you, tech guy.
We'll make the right decision. This kid's got what it takes.
far as your nephew goes,
Here, I'll play that back because you missed it.
stay out of his life.
I'm listening.
Stay out of his life.
Whatever, I didn't rewind it far enough. They're so cool you don't even need to make an account to use it, but it's just so much better if you do. Interesting. So I love TV and movies, but I never like, you know, I do the trope of like sifting through Netflix for like half an hour and not finding anything and then like going to bed. Yeah, Limitless. You got to check it out. It's on HBO Max. It was a really good movie. Incredible movie. There's a narration choice that's just chef's kiss. You put in that you have Netflix, Disney, and Hulu, and it'll show you content on those servers. Cool. The narration choice was great. There's one particular scene that was just like so well written and kind of tied the whole movie together. But my biggest gripe, and I was listening to Talking Sopranos. They had the guy playing Dickie Moltisanti on. That was the only part of the interview I got through. He was saying a lot of the storyline with the character Harold, who's a black guy that does work for Dickie at times, and there's like they're trying to play at the Italian black like racism and tension that Italians have with the black community, especially during that time, because that's like really the 70s there is like the beginning of Italians becoming white, and I say that like ironically and unironically, like, you know, it's just like how Latino and Hispanic people are like becoming white. Italians at some level went through that process. Not that they were people of color beforehand. They obviously had white skin, but they like earned their privilege in some degree. And part of that was by being racist and otherizing the black community. And so like they're trying to show that in a way in this movie, but and I was very confused by it because there's honestly like no resolution to that storyline, and it was so, no, that's real stuff right there. Whiteness was constructed and expanded as whiteness needed more power over time. Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, they're like some way trying to show that in this movie, and they just miss. And part of it seems they cut a lot of those scenes out. The actor that plays Dickie was saying like, because Michael Imperioli was saying how like you could the rapport, like the on-screen rapport between those characters was so good, and Dickie was saying how like that was a result of like these other scenes essentially that were cut out, and I like, we need like the fucking Snyder cut of Many Saints of Newark already, because I want to see those scenes, because it kind of left you hanging or like wanting for more, because I really don't, it was out of place, I think, without these scenes. And honestly, just overall, the movie could have, I'm a big proponent of like the 90-minute comedy, but like, you know, this is a drama, you know, give me 2.5 hours of this. You know, Sopranos is a big series. I want a big movie for it. And they didn't give me that. All right. I want to talk more about the Many Saints of Newark in a minute. Please do not leave. I need water very badly. So I'm going to refill some water. I'll leave you all with Nick Cage. He'll be your host, and I will be right back. Vampire Hunter, I do not fuck the Nick Cage pillow. Thank you for inquiring. But no, there are no holes on the pillow. There is no cussy. No, it doesn't even work. Pussy. What a waste. Tech guy. I'm sure there's a lot of content that got cut. Hopefully we'll see it when they release some deleted scenes. Yeah. I hope so. Because I was essentially that trailer is all the scenes of Michael Gandolfini as Tony Soprano. Oh, guys, we might have an energetic one. But yeah, so those are largely all the scenes with older Tony, or at least like 60% of the scenes. Obviously, the trailer wasn't the full scenes, but fucking highlights of them. But the ending was just disappointing. That's all I have to say. I know, like, there's no way you could live up to the most iconic ending of television, of screen history. But this, like, it didn't do it for me. It did not do it for me. Not one bit. Not one bit. Yeah, I was totally left hanging. I felt like that last hour was really building up to something big. And granted, there is like a big moment that happens, but it's kind of a moment you know is going to happen already. And, as so long as you're a Soprano nut, or, you know the Soprano canon, there's like a twist to it, obviously, which was very interesting. Not unsurprising, but interesting. But just that end scene was just like what? Seriously? That's how we're gonna end this movie? When the acting was incredible. The guy who plays Dickie was fucking phenomenal. Ray Liotta is an Italian acting god. You can't touch him. Actually, I kind of want to play, if I could find where it is.
The Many Saints of Newark.
A story about Ray.
That's funny.
Oh, that's really.
And then
I remember this trick that Asanabi taught me. We're gonna search the transcript. Okay. Bear with me, chat. I'll show you what I'm doing. Oh my god, I'm not even soprano now, but they're totally on the same page. I had a moment similar. Someone said, yeah, Vampire Hunter. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the transphobia that you're exuding here. And so I'm gonna ban you. C troll energy, yeah, C minus. Saying Michelle Obama is a dude is just like a transphobic trope. Oh, it's information. Okay, bye bye. Boop. Oh, thanks for the follow, Vampire Hunter. Information.
And then I just like, and then also.
All right, so he's talking. Oh, I'm not showing you yet. Dickie's character, it's some Italian name. I can't remember his name. He's talking about his experience working with Ray Liotta. And he's telling a story of Ray Liotta the troll.
He's a very like intense and committed guy, like as an actor. He really cares about it, and he's really you can like the way that he looks at everybody and watches the scenes play out and everything. Like you just feel like you can't kind of pull one over on him, and he's also really like very unpredictable, and I mean he's very in the moment. It's like verging on improvisational. I mean obviously with David's stuff you don't make it up, but you know I never knew what was going to happen in scenes with him, and that's exciting, and that's what you want. He he at one day we were shooting that scene in the car where we get in a fight. I mean I can't like I shouldn't give away too much about it, but
Great fucking scene, by the way. Fucking fantastic scene. I thought this is definitely a gory scene right there.
It was late at night, and we shot this thing 100 times, and it was very physical. We hadn't really rehearsed a kind of specific choreography to it. It was supposed to be just kind of a messy kind of fight that wasn't supposed to look like cool, where one guy hits the guy and then another guy hits him and he goes like this, and it was supposed to be kind of like faces, like all that, and he's a big imposing guy and everything. We've been doing this thing for a while. He had me in the headlock, and then at one point like I tagged him a little bit, and it was just like it was not hard or anything, but I just felt like, oh God, I've like supposed to be, this is supposed to be under control and everything. And I went home feeling really guilty about it. And then the next day I got a call like early in the morning. I think it was like 8 or 9 from him. And he was on the phone, and he sounded like he had his mouth full of cotton or something. And he's like, hey, Alessandro, how you doing? It's Ray. And I'm like, hey man, what's going on? He's like, no, I just I'm in a hospital on the Upper East Side someplace. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you broke my jaw. And I'm like, I broke your fucking jaw? Are you kidding me? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I barely touched you. Come on, I didn't break your jaw. Like, this is no big deal. It's not your fault. I don't want you to feel guilty about it or anything. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, is it like badly broken? Like you got
like you fucking broke Henry Hill's jaw. The better Henry Hill, not the real Henry Hill. He's fucking scumbag piece of shit. But Ray Liotta Henry Hill, he fucking broke his jaw. Imagine thinking that.
Like, is it like a little fracture, or like what's going on? Like, are you in pain? He's like, no, they give me like a whole bunch of pills. I'm feeling great, but They just put some wires on it and stuff, and I'm only gonna be out like 2 weeks. And I'm like, 2 fucking weeks. I'm just thinking like the producers are gonna shit themselves. I'm gonna be fired. Like, the whole production's gonna shut down, And this goes on and on for like 10 minutes. At this point, I'm like, my heart's just like pounding. I've got like, a panic attack on set. And suddenly I hear, I got you. And he's like,
Good impression.
He's doing like that. He's doing the
I'm gonna run that back, because if you're a Ray Liotta head, that's a fucking spot on impression. And it kills me.
Hey, Alessandra, how you doing? It's Ray.
I went too far.
Telling me that it was all right. You know what I mean?
Oh, God damn it.
Like,
Why can't I scrub today?
for like 10 minutes. At this point, I'm like, my heart's just like
Here we go.
pounding. I've got like, a panic attack on set. And suddenly I hear, I got you. And he's like,
Good impression.
He's doing like,
Fucking fantastic impression. All right, chat. I'm gonna end it on Alessandra. I don't know his name. Dicky Moltisanti's impression of Ray Liotta. But I fucking remembered this time. I'm gonna raid someone. Did you ever see him in Heartbreakers with Sigourney Weaver and Jennifer Love Hewitt? I have not. I had no clue about him beforehand. And they were reading off like all the shit he's been in. And he's been in a lot of stuff. Notable one that I remembered, and I can't remember the fucking name now, was it American Hustle? American Hustle. And he was saying that was the first time he was ever cast in an Italian American role. Because they're asking him, where did he draw inspiration from? As he portrayed other characters? That is fucking bitrate, god damn it. Different characters, with similar backgrounds, blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, he's largely played English characters so much that people would ask him to do an American accent. But yeah, no, I've never seen him in Heartbreakers. I thought he did a fucking phenomenal job as great work. I'm definitely gonna go back and watch a lot of his shit. Definitely gonna watch American Hustler again, or American Hustle, whatever the title was, because I enjoyed that movie when it came out. He did an incredible job with Dickie. It played that character perfectly. I highly suggest watching listening to this episode of the Talking Sopranos, because if you're a Soprano fan, he gives you some good lore on top of just hearing about his process and how he felt about the role. So, all right, I remembered this time that I need to raid someone as I leave. So I'm going to raid someone because I got to go. We have some options. Okay. We can go Touring News, Real Dan Cody, or I guess K Swiftly. This has been solid. I'm going to pass out now. Night fam, night limitless. Thank you for stopping by. And I'm glad you had an open mind and I could, help people understand and learn some more about antitrust and labor law. Yeah. Thank you, Limitless. I really appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. All right. We need to make a decision on who we're going to raid, though. I think I'm going to make executive decision, and we're going to go with Real Dan Cody because he's also in the politics. So I'm going to see if I can make this work. I got a new follower. Proxy Echoes. Hello. Hardy Fold. Who was the other? K Swiftly was the other. I think I'm gonna go Dan. Oh, Dan, Cody. Right, I think I raid and then I log off. All right. Thank you all for stopping by. Proxy Echoes, thank you for this last minute follow. If you're not a bot, if you're a bot, whatever, Twitch is going to scrub you from the followers. Anyways, thank you all for watching, joining me. Proxy Echoes, thank you. You're not a bot, and I love the Pikachu emoji. Thank you. Unless you're a bot sending emotes. I'm going to send you all over to Real Dan Cody now. Make new friends, find old friends. Have you been there? Yeah, I'm glad that you guys came by. You know, I really appreciate it. And swing by anytime. You're always welcome. But thank you all, and have a good night. Oh, that didn't work. Hold on. I'm gonna do it again. You're gonna have to look at my face. Do bots have Prime? That's fair. I don't think bots can have Prime. I'm sorry, Proxy Echoes, that I called you a bot. You're not a bot. You have Prime. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the Pikachu emote. Start raid. No, why are we not working? There's an error. We're going to touring news. All right. Everyone have a good night, and we'll talk